It's officially time for the first episode of Misogynistic Ex-Friend. I'm going to start with the first time I can remember him actively hitting on me. There may have been times before this, but this is the first thing that comes to mind. It was the summer after senior year, and the setting was a bonfire on the beach. There was a lot of weird stuff that took place that night, but the important fact is somehow I wound up around the bonfire alone, very angry. My ex-friend comes up to me and basically says, "You want to walk down the beach? I want to talk to you about something." I knew exactly what he was trying to do, and I was also just really mad, so I wasn't having it. I looked at him and said, "What the hell do you want to talk to me about?" He made up some crap about the fact that I had just got into a fight with my best friend and then put his hand on my leg and got closer to me. I wasn't having it, so I removed his hand and just got up and walked away. He continued to try to come up to me and talk to me and get me alone the rest of the night, but at that point I had already talked to 3 of my guy friends, and they were all making sure I was never alone at any moment. I know this isn't the craziest thing to happen, but I had just gotten into a fight with my best friend and I was really upset, and that's the moment that he chose to pursue me, and I just found that really disrespectful.
Story time, my gym teacher's wife found out that he was having an affair with me. So a little background information. I was a sophomore in high school, and the one night my friends and I were playing Truth or Dare. Well, a little bit into the game, my friends dared me to download Tinder and message the first 5 guys that I saw. And what do you know, the last guy that I saw on there was my gym teacher. So obviously I messaged him and I was like, "Hey, OMG, it's blah 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 from your 3rd period class." And obviously I wasn't expecting him to answer, but he did, and he was like, "Oh, this is weird. How are you?" So after that, my friends were like, "Oh, okay, like it's time to delete it." So I pretended that I did, and when they left, I started messaging him more. So we had been messaging that whole week, and one thing led to another. Next thing I knew, he was sneaking me out of my house at 2 a.m. And he was like 32, so he wasn't that old. Well, for the next month, we were going to restaurants that were like an hour away. Almost every weekend, he would rent out a hotel for us. Well, the one night his wife was supposed to be out with some friends, so he invited me over like for part 2.
So today, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to try to make some candy dice. So I took some of these rainbow-colored sprinkles, and I filled up as much as I could of my molds with it. I mixed up my 2 parts of my resin, and I was going for a clear, and I added just a little bit of an iridescent shimmer to give that clear just the smallest amount of a pop. And then I mixed it up nice and thoroughly. And while I've got you here, I've got a super fun announcement. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be restocking my Etsy, which that link is up in my bio in my link tree. I'd love for you guys to come check it out and maybe buy a couple of sets of dice, though fair warning, they sell out rather quickly. Then I took my mixed resin and I filled my molds with it, and then I put it in the pressure pot, which removes the air bubbles, and it takes 24 hours to dry, so come back tomorrow.
You get a jar, you put a title on your jar. My jar is titled Happy Happenings, and whenever something really good happens in your life, you write it down on a little note, you put it inside the jar, and then at the end of the year, you open the jar up and you read about all the happy things that happened in your life, and you'd be surprised how much good there is. But what's really cool about it is you start looking for the good things in your life. Your friend says something funny, you're like, I ought to write that down and put it in.
you see this on your For You page, stop scrolling, please. I'm begging you, okay? Please interact somehow, some way with this video, comment, share, like, whatever, because some people, I don't think people know about this, but this needs to be discussed. This girl made a video on TikTok saying that she was in an abusive relationship and how her partner basically broke all of her things and she had nowhere to go, I believe, and she just needed help. And of course, she put her Cash App, her Venmo, and her PayPal on TikTok, so people were donating money towards her, even some big TikTokers, right? Only to find out that she is a scammer. Yeah. A post that was made said that she brought this on Facebook about a month ago and they raised about $160,000 for her. Now she's brought this on TikTok where it has gotten a lot of views and a lot of attention. I do not have enough time, so I will be making a part 2, but I don't want to be that person, but like for part 2.
Can we talk about for a second the most frequent form of abuse I've experienced because I am disabled? And that's those people who used you to better their own status. Or straight up pretend to be helping you to get free things. Because, I've had people where they start out actually treating me really well. They're doing what they say they're doing. They're helping. And then once they get me to tell a few people that yes, they're actually helping, and, prove their story, they just stop. Leave me out in the cold. Very literally once. And then it starts becoming straight up abusive. But if you say anything, then suddenly it's all, you have mental health problems, and that's the only reason why you're saying that. Because if you're a disabled person who has to rely on other people, there's just a certain personality type that wants you to come to them so bad, so they could reap every benefit they can find. Then throw you away once they get bored and the attention stops. Even if that means you're gonna be fucked over.
So this teacher is talking to her class and teaching them manners and stuff, and all of a sudden she goes, "Pop quiz, if you were on a date with a girl or whatever, and you had to politely excuse yourself to use the bathroom, what would you say?" And so, Eddie in the front raises his hand. She goes, "What would you say?" He says, "I have to go take a piss. I'll be right back. It'll only be a minute." And she goes, "Well, that's not very polite." And then, John in the back puts his hand up, and she goes, "Johnny, what about you?" And he says, "I would say, I'm sorry to leave, but I have to go to the bathroom." And she says, "Well, that's better, but it's not really what we're looking for. What about you, Michael?" And Michael goes, "Well, I would say, darling, you'll have to excuse me. I am going to go shake hands with a very dear friend of mine who I hope to introduce to you after dinner." And the teacher faints.